Hi, so a bunch of you have been asking me questions quite similar to this one, so I thought I'd answer it. Basically, back in 2017, I had the flu and I got really sick, and my mom kept begging me to go get a blood test done because I was losing a lot of weight, and I did. The next day, my GP calls me up and he's like, you need to come into the GP's office ASAP. And I was like, okay. And I go in with my dad and the GP's freaking out. He's like, something's wrong with her kidneys. Like, we've got to do something. And if we don't do something, she's not going to make it to her 30s. And I was just sitting there like, excuse me, what did you just say to me? But anyways, my dad didn't trust these results. He was convinced that these results belonged to someone else. So he made me get those blood tests done again. And then the next day I get a call from one of the doctors at an Auckland hospital, and she's like, sis, you gotta come in to the emergency. And I was like, can I come in later in the evening? I'm just finishing up this assignment. And she was like, no, come in right now. So I ended up going into emergency, and then the doctors did a biopsy and an ultrasound, and they figured out basically because the flu really got me and my immune system wasn't strong enough to fight it off, it managed to damage my kidneys in the process. So I got diagnosed at stage 3. I was stable up until 2020. I don't know what happened. It was a rough year. I went from end of stage 3 to stage 5, which is kidney failure. And I just got given 2 options. It was either dialysis or a transplant. But the transplant process takes months. So the doctor was like, sis, I think we need to start you on dialysis, which I was fine with. I was happy to wait on the deceased donor waiting list for, I don't know how long. I think on average, it takes about 4 years to find a kidney in New Zealand. I was happy to wait, but then 7 months into dialysis, I got really sick. I couldn't breathe anymore. So I ended up going into emergency, and then they tell me that I was on the wrong dialysis program for 7 months. So now I've got fluid in my chest and around my heart. And then they tell me that something is wrong with my heart now. Anyways, the doctor then tells me, your body is not coping with dialysis, so you need to get a kidney transplant done ASAP, like it's urgent. And I was like, where am I gonna find a kidney from, sir? And so I did what I would do best. So I started crying, and I cried till 3 a.m. and I was just praying, and I was like, God, you've got to give me like a glimpse of hope, like a tiny bit of hope that I can hold on to so I can keep fighting. And as I was praying at like 3 o'clock in the morning, I looked down at my phone and my brother calls me up and he's like, I'm going to give you a kidney. And mind you, my brother plays a lot of sports, and I was like, no, what do you mean? And he's like, no, I'm going to give you a kidney. You're my number 1 priority. Like, let's make this happen. And so we started our process in June, and we had our kidney transplant last week, like you guys saw. That's it. Bye.